And good evening, everyone. Here we are once again with day 3 of Purpose Driven Life, here with my beautiful wife, Hashi.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. It's just sipping on our detox tea.
So today, let's get right into it. This is a great chapter. Day 3, again, we are doing every day, my Purpose Driven Life.
Let's turn to
Day 3 is what drives your life. Okay, it starts off with, you want to start it off?
Yeah, so, the chapter title, What Drives Your Life, and is building upon the first 2 chapters of, You're Not an Accident, which is chapter day 2, and it all starts with God. So building on that, What Drives Your Life is basically talking about what drives you. What is your motivations? And they go through briefly, different ways people are driven either by guilt, resentment, anger, fear, materialism, seeking approval.
Let's just touch on those very briefly, because I said, most of the times people are driven by 5 of the most common causes. It says right now you may be driven by a problem, a pressure, a deadline. You may be driven by a painful memory, a haunting fear, or unconscious belief. They said there's hundreds of circumstances, values, emotions that can drive your life, but they talk about 5 of the most common ones. So many people are driven by guilt. So you want to touch on that really quick?
Right. So if you're driven by guilt, if that's your driving motivation, you're triggered by past memories, and you allow the past events to sort of control your present moment, right?
And one of the things that I love in that is what they said is, we are not your past. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, but we are not our past. So we can move on from. We don't have to be driven by guilt of the way we used to live or what we may have done. If that's not you anymore, then you can change from that and you can move on from that. So,
right. I think a good sentence to quote is, "We are products of our past, but we don't have to be prisoners of it."
Right.
That's beholden to that,
He says here, he turned a murderer named Moses into a leader and a coward named Gideon into a courageous hero. That. You can do amazing things with the rest of your life too. So again, we are not our past. So I love that.
Think about it, because if you say you did things in your past maybe that you aren't proud of, and now it's the future, it's a present moment, what can you do? You either sit there and think about it and be depressed and sad, or you can move forward from that, right?
Right.
So
another one, they said that most people are driven by resentment and anger. They hold on to hurts and never get over them. So
then the line here, which really stuck with me, is resentment always hurts you more than it does the person you resent. While your offender has probably forgotten the offense and gone on with life, you continue to stew in your pain, perpetuating the past. Like you're thinking you're getting at them. Meanwhile, they're living their life, and you're still fuming, right?
Exactly. Just as they say, one of the things that always stood out to me about resentment is, like in the Lord's Prayer, we say, "Forgive us for our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us." So we're asking for forgiveness, but, and we are simultaneously forgiving others as well. The prayer does not say, forgive us, and I'm going to hold on to this thing that such and such did, and, I'll think about letting them go down the line. No, it says, forgive us as we forgive those. So letting go of resentment and anger, I think, is really huge, and not be driven by that. And then they talk about being driven by fear.
If fear is your driving force, if you constantly are living in that state, you're going to never come out of that shell, never experience any new opportunities, venture out and try new things. Again, that prison analogy, fear is a self-imposed prison. It will keep you from being what God intended you to be, right?
Definitely. Then they say many people are driven by materialism,
Hmm.
and that's it's very. I mean, here they say it clearly. Real security can only be found in that which can never be taken from you. Your relationship with God. We the car you drive, all the money you make, the house, when you die, you cannot take that with you. Yes, it's great to build wealth, to help others, and to leave it to future generations, but you cannot let that be your driving factor, you
Hmm.
know?
So true. So
And
true.
it's then this last one here, I think this is number 5. Many people are driven by the need for approval.
Hmm.
And I think in today's age where, and I remember talking to one of my students and I was just like, I feel so bad that the way they have to grow up on social media and constantly be judged and everything,
Yeah.
that, the need for likes or
Instantly, right?
instantly,
Like
right?
you're checking, like, oh, did anyone like my picture? Oh, well, not too many people liked it. It must not be a good picture, or I must not have looked good. Just to have that constant need for gratification and acceptance, right? It's very
Exactly.
difficult.
Exactly.
I just want to say I'm glad that we didn't grow up in that age.
It would be hard.
It was very hard.
So then they talk about, you know, so those are the 5 of the most common things that drive people's lives.
So those are driving forces that aren't purpose driven, right? Purpose driven in the way God wants you to.
So on this journey, we are going to learn, the 40-day journey will show you how to live a purpose-driven life, a life guided, controlled, and directed by God's purpose. Nothing matters more than knowing God's purpose for your life, and nothing can compare for not knowing them. Not success, wealth, fame, or pleasure. Without a purpose, life is without meaning, activity without direction, events without reason. Without a purpose, life is trivial, petty, and pointless. And that's the whole point of us going through this. Even though we've done this before, I have not done it in a while. And with everything that's going on right now, we just really, really wanted to refocus and redirect and find our purpose again, because there's everything that's going on in the world right now is just so confusing, scary. I mean, you feel fearful, you feel, you're worried. So I think it's really great to, you know, find our purpose again, find our purpose, refocus our purpose. Because I kind of feel like I know what my purpose is, but just to refocus that purpose in these uncertain times,
Mm-hmm. Especially now, I mean, I have a lot more time on my hands, right? Even though our son is home from school, there's so much time to think. So we can use that time productively rather than be worrying, right?
So they talk about 5 great benefits of living a purpose-driven life. So one of them is it gives meaning to your life. When you're living a purpose-driven life, it gives meaning to your life, and that's so true. It's like when you wake up in the morning, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what my purpose is. Just makes everything a little bit more focused.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is knowing your purpose simplifies your life.
Right, because you're not venturing out and trying a million different things. If you're aligned with your purpose, if you know what that is, and you're going to, like you use that word again, align with that purpose that God has intended for you, right?
Exactly. Does this activity help me to fulfill one of God's purposes for my life? Right. So when you wake up, you know what to do and what to not do.
I kind of make an analogy with a foundation for a house and a foundation for God's purpose for you. Everything will be built upon that, right?
Exactly. That's a great analogy. So another one of the benefits is knowing your purpose focuses your life. Mm-hmm. And just as I was saying, going through this 40-day journey again, as we are here in this uncertain time, is a great opportunity to refocus your life. Great opportunity. And what's the other one?
Knowing your purpose motivates your life. It's not meaningless work, it's passion filled work, right? Where you are being used for the purpose God has intended for you. So you're motivated because you're like, this is exactly what I should be doing. I'm going to put all my energy, all my love, all my passion, all my time, all my resources into this, right?
And then the last one of the 5 benefits they say is knowing your purpose prepares you for eternity. You know,
this is amazing. Living to create an earthly legacy is a short-sighted goal. A wiser use of time is to build an eternal legacy. You know, it like gives me goosebumps reading that.
you know, I mean, a lot of times, you know, and that's, you know, you want to leave a legacy, you want to be remembered for something, but they say clearly here, it's ultimately what matters most is not what others say about your life, but what God says. You know, all the achievements, all the records, and from an athletic point of view, you may have gone through school and had a record. I've had shot blocking records, rebounding records, and somebody else comes along and will break those records. Somebody else will come along and have those achievements. You know, it says, you know, there's a quote in here that says, "Given enough time, all of your trophies will be trashed by someone else." You know, so all of your records, eventually every record will be broken, which as they should, because you want people to get better and better. So ultimately, the only achievement that really matters is what God says about your life, you know? So, you know, and as we always do, at the end, they have thinking about my purpose. And as you know, we played this at the beginning of the video. You guys saw the point to ponder was living on purpose is the path to peace.
Something I'm definitely going to be thinking about all for the next 24 hours until we do day 4 at least. Verse to remember: you, Lord, give perfect peace to those who keep their purpose firm and put their trust in you. Isaiah 26:3.
And that is exactly why I am doing this, is to keep my purpose firm, reaffirm my purpose, keep it firm, and put my trust in God and in our higher power and the head coach. Because right now, you know, it's really easy to be shaken. You know, it's really easy to feel uncertain and uneasy and nervous. So, you know, gives perfect peace to those who keep their purpose firm and put their trust in you. And the question to consider: what would my family and friends say is the driving force of my life? What do I want it to be? And that's a good thing. You know, you think back and say, okay, you know, yeah, well, I know what my purpose is. I know what drives me. Well, is it being reflected, you know, outside? Is that, you know, what others see, you know, and what do you want it to be, you know?
And also a good thing to ask too, I think, to expand on that question is, what would they have said your purpose was, your driving force was 10 years ago? You know, are you changing? Are you evolving? You know, it's a good question to ask as well, right?
Right. Because, you know, ultimately, you know, and this is why I've done this and I'm doing it again, because I don't think anybody ever finds that perfect path. Even when you find your purpose, you know, you're going to still, and that's the thing, be kind to yourself. Nobody leads a perfect life. Nobody, you know, people, you make mistakes, you know, you learn from them and you grow. So even though you may find your purpose, you may still stumble here or there. And the ultimate thing in this, especially in a time like this, what we need to all know is be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, love each other, care for each other, you know?
That's right, my love.
And with that, people, I know today was a little bit longer session, but it was a really in-depth chapter.
Yeah.
I know we kind of really breezed through it, but I really hope that those of you that are watching this video, and if anybody's watching it, great. If not, it's something that me and my wife wanted to do, and we wanted to share it with others. So, you know, if you are doing the reading and following along, and you know, hopefully, you know.
Yeah, if you're following along, definitely, I mean, post in the comments. We're reading them. And we would love to engage in discussion with you. So please, you know, comment freely and join us. We're doing Zoom every night. And I'll post the Zoom link actually in the YouTube description box as well. So have a good night, you guys. Bye.